on, I'm gonna get mine. Go do the crime if you can't do the time. Don't tell me how you're off and down. When you're smiling in my face, but you play me like a clown. It's your fool, bitch. So just step back. I'm mad that when I come down straight, I thought you were my piece, but you play me out. Now I'm mad as hell, and I'm full of doubt. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. I'm back on the scene, it's time to get mean. I'm a lean revolution machine. For what people stay, they sway. For today is good as any day. Y'all feel slightly dis, let's resist. Raise your fist and pump like this. Promises over the top. Don't cross the line, but you know it's mine. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll. Who you wanna roll with? Who you wanna roll with? Lefty, let's roll.
Jenna, what's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm just about to roll up one for my pain. Me and Bear are going to roll one up. And what are we smoking? Mafia Funeral? I don't even know these strains anymore. They're crazy. Mafia Funeral. You ever heard of that one?
I haven't.
No, me neither.
One of my favorites for pain is called Hippie Crippler.
Hippie Crippler. I like it. Oh, hold on. There we go. Hey, Sue, how are you? All right. So, Janet, what's going on with you? I see you all over the internet doing all kinds of stuff. What's going on keeping you busy?
Lots of different things. When people ask me what I do for a living, it feels like a trick question. Because I do a lot. I'm a professor of cannabinoid medical science for John Patrick University for part of their graduate integrative and functional medicine degree programs. I am nonprofit founder of 501c3 Autism Safe Haven, whose mission is to create cannabis-inclusive autism care resources that don't exist. So we're hoping to launch our first cannabis-inclusive licensed care home this year, potentially. After many, many years of cutting red tape, there's still a little left that rescheduling should hopefully alleviate what remains. What else do I do? I'm also a board certified master herbalist. And so I work with patients to help them optimize their cannabis therapy outcomes. And I'm also a retired nurse. I help with formulating. I do all kinds of different contractual education offerings. So yeah, just a little of everything. And it's all come just from following outstanding cannabis patients' needs. I'm also a writer, published author for American Journal of Endocannabinoid Medicine. Gosh, I think that's most everything. Told you it's a question.
Speaking of cannabis patients' needs, what are some of the needs that patients are not getting right now that you've seen?
They're not being treated like patients in the medical field. They're not receiving appropriate guidance or education. We are not upholding our medical ethics in servicing these patients. And so those are some of the big advocacy areas. I'm also a legislative advocate. So I'm advocating for education of medical professionals, which I think is the solution to making sure patients have access to competent cannabis care, and also educating patients. So really, trying to fill in those gaps and reduce the stigma. And in Oregon, unfortunately, patients may present to a non-competent, non-educated medical professional who looks at the DSM and slaps them with an addiction label like cannabis use disorder, not realizing that some of the parameters on there, may not necessarily indicate a problem, that it could be, very logically helping the patient. Things like daily use, Well, if that patient has clinical endocannabinoid deficiency, they may benefit from daily use because their body can't create enough cannabinoids to stay in balance. So things like that, we need to really help our medical professionals understand that we know you weren't educated about this in nursing school or medical school, but patients may benefit. You're working here. I live in Oregon. You're inevitably going to interface with these patients. So if you don't feel competent to serve them, you better have a competent resource where you can send them as a referral. That's upholding your medical ethics.
Yeah, in New Jersey, we have a medical cannabis program, but I'm finding out that a lot of dispensaries are not wheelchair accessible. So how can you have a medically based program without wheelchair access to dispensaries and no guidelines for wheelchair access? That's one of the things we're fighting for in New Jersey right now, for home grow, wheelchair access, insurance coverage, price caps. Well, that's just the first four. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah. Well, thankfully in Oregon, we have really free access to growing our own. Anybody over age 21 can grow 4 plants without so much as filling out a single sheet of paper or putting themselves on any list as a grower. So any household can have 4 plants. And then as patients, once you are certified and have an OMMP card, each patient can grow up to 6 plants. So it's a wonderful grow state. I've cultivated off and on since 2014 and grown my own medicine and my daughter's medicine. So I'm so thankful that we have that benefit here. But what really challenges patients here is the fact that we don't yet have insurance coverage to help reduce the cost of cannabis therapy for patients. That's another big initiative we're working on.
Do you think Schedule 3 will affect that at all?
It's hard to know. It's hard to know. There's so many theories being thrown around about rescheduling or descheduling and what it should be. I'm choosing to focus on the fact that rescheduling and cannabis no longer being Schedule 1 is actually going to improve access for patients, even in legal states like Oregon, where it's currently being blocked by Schedule 1 placement because our medical organizations are fearful of losing federal funding if they accommodate cannabis patients on their location. And so that's really been a huge barrier. I also feel that shifting to Schedule 3 is totally appropriate for certain forms of cannabis therapy, that it's mostly the human altered, the patent driven, the pharmaceutical grade. Those products, we don't know how they work as well in the body. We have enough evidence that they do differ from our whole plant medicine that we've used for thousands of years as human medicine, and as a master herbalist, that goes really well with the herbalism teachings as well, that the whole plant is always best. I feel like that warrants descheduling, and I feel like that can happen at the state level if federally we shift to Schedule 3, let them continue to monitor the pharma grade products. And then the pre-existing state programs are protected. So I don't see them shifting regardless of what happens federally, because we have Schedule 1 federally, totally illegal. Well, we can still access it in legal states because the state laws supersede that federal law. So I don't see the state programs changing that much, and we can continue to have whole plant medicine at the state level. And in Oregon, we've actually descheduled cannabis. We removed it from our controlled substances list several years ago. So I think this is something that we can encourage other states to do. And if we get enough states together, if we get 38 together in quorum, we can actually implement Article 5 of the Constitution and deregulate it at the federal level, bypassing Congress, where it's been stuck for 35 years, bypassing the president's ability to veto, bypassing all of it. The states can do that. And so that's the direction I see being the most likely for descheduling cannabis federally.
That sounds very interesting.
That
might work. Yeah. Yeah.
I have many people that reach out when I talk about that, like, wait a minute, what is this thing? And why don't we appeal to normal and say, hey, you have 38 chapters. Let's get on this. This is the best way to do it, rather than, repeating the same thing we've done for 50 years and saying it doesn't belong on Schedule 1. Let's deschedule it and hope that somehow we might have a different outcome than we've had for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing and expecting the outcome to differ. So that's my perspective. I know it's kind of controversial, but.
Yeah, expecting different results, but no. It's the same old drug war. Drug war 2.0 now. Now we're arresting people for growing weed and for selling untaxed weed, I guess they would call it now.
Yeah, what is it? The federal government for so long jailed people for accommodating cannabis patients' needs, and now they want to be the drug dealer and benefit from those sales. Like, that doesn't quite sit right with me either.
Well, this year in New Jersey, they're going to make $1 billion off recreational cannabis, but a cancer patient who grows up one plant in their home can go to jail for 5 years.
It's crazy.
I mean, what? Wait, what? But you're
It's
making $1 billion this year.
We're completely forgetting that this is a plant medicine. Not only is a plant medicine, it's a plant medicine that qualifies for generally recognized as safe designation. It should have been grandfathered in with every other safe herb that you can access over the counter in America. And for some reason, and I think the reasons are largely financial, because cannabis is the primary competitor to pharmaceutical profits. I think that's really the problem. That's really the reason it's been restricted, not to mention all the other uses that it competes with, like oil and gas and paper and textiles. All of those big companies are the reason cannabis is being restricted, not in the best interest of patients. And that's very clear when you compare it to something like opioids that are killing patients every 11 minutes, statistically, that is freely allowed in this country. So it's really not, it's not for the patients that this is being restricted.
No, New Jersey is not definitely for the patients at all. They say they are, but I hear the same stories over and over from patients, how they can't afford their medicine. We're overpriced. And you can get the same cannabis from the same company in Pennsylvania for, I think, $30 an eighth. That same cannabis in New Jersey over the river is like $80, $90 an eighth.
Yeah. We
Like,
need an interest rate transfer so that we can level out our pricing. Because same thing here in Oregon, last couple of years, you could buy a good lab tested, high quality pound of cannabis for $300 or $400. And I know in other places it's still $5,000 a pound. So if we can get the states, the legal states sharing across borders, that's going to help everybody out, because here it doesn't even pan out for most people to grow it for profit. Just they end up losing money.
yeah, you had a big backup there a few years ago of just cannabis sitting around with nowhere to go.
Yeah, we sure did.
Remember that?
I bought 6 pounds from a friend 6 months ago, and it's mostly smalls and some trim thrown in. I'm just making oil from it. $150 for 6 pounds.
$150 for 6 pounds.
It's insane. And I mean, not smokable, like oil grade, but still.
That's okay.
It's crazy. When I was growing it, it was going for $5,000 a pound when I first started growing. So it's gone way down.
I used to buy regs for that price.
It's insane. So
I was very happy growing up smoking regs, but now, now we're spoiled. We have at least these crazy strains, and the terps, the terps are just insane now. I love all the different terps we have available.
Oh, for sure. And the terpenes really drive the effect. They're the reasons it's stimulating or sedative, and they also help to really target specific uses. Through terpenes, we can target neurological disorders by making sure there's some myrcene in there. We can provide anti-seizure or anti-anxiety benefits by making sure there's some linalool content. So they really are more than just how it smells. They provide so many benefits to patients.
I need to figure out my terp profile, because I know there's terps that I need for my pain, and there's probably some terps that I really don't want. I don't know which ones I don't want, but I'm sure there must be. There must be a certain window that's optimum for my pain.
Yeah, definitely. And if there's a strain you like, I suggest researching it. A lot of times, like I know True Terpenes has got some strain specific blends, and there's a couple other companies doing it. I would look and see what their White Widow blend contains. That's a good one for pain.
White Widow. Okay.
That was one I grew for years. That was one of my favorites for pain. So old school.
Yeah, I have a lot of neurological pain too. My neuropathy in my arms and my leg, mostly in my right leg. And cannabis doesn't really help the neuropathy too much. It helps with the regular pain. It helps distracting my mind from some of the pain. But the neuropathy is it's rough.
Yeah, I would look for some myrcene. Make sure that the THC is crossing the blood-brain barrier and getting to where it's needed. Are you using any acid forms like THCA?
No.
Those can be really beneficial for pain too. Very potent anti-inflammatory. So if there's any inflammatory aspects that are inflaming against your nerves and pinching them and causing those nerve firings, anti-inflammatories might benefit you as well.
So THCA in what form?
I like it in tincture form. If you have flower, it's easy to make. I don't know accessibility in your state as far as the variety of products, but a lot of people are furnishing it under the Hemp Act right now as well. So it should be pretty readily accessible.
And that's pretty much just high CBD, CBG kind of, or no?
No, THCA is the raw form of THC. So
Okay.
it would be a THC dominant flower that has not yet been decarboxylated or heated.
Okay.
So when you put flower in your bowl and you hit it with the lighter, you decarboxylate the THCA flower in that bowl that's raw, and that acid drops off and it becomes THC, and that's why you get intoxicated.
So I don't want to decarboxylate it at all. I just want to have raw flower ingested into my body, basically.
Yes, you can eat it if you're into like really green, dark green tasting salads. You can throw it in a blender and make a smoothie. I like to infuse it in a organic extra virgin olive oil base, and you just throw it, put it on a dark shelf for a couple of weeks, and then strain it out, and you have a THCA tincture. You just dark bottle, don't let it hit sunlight, don't let it warm up, or it will decarboxylate at some point. Yeah, THCA in its raw form, the research supports it. It offers 20 times the anti-inflammatory effect of aspirin, which equates to about twice that of prednisone. So powerhouse for anti-inflammatory effect.
So just
And,
eat like a bud. Eat a bud.
and no intoxication, very
Right.
well tolerated, not a lot of issues combining with pharmaceuticals like you can have with CBD. So yeah. Lots of potential answers. CBD CBG combo can be good for inflammation as well and pain. So, but for neuropathy, I think THC is usually the preferred.
I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
Just gonna start eating. I'm gonna start eating Bear's weed when he's not looking.
Yeah, there you go. You might notice you don't have any in your teeth afterwards.
Left some on the plate there. I'm gonna eat that. Okay.
There you go. So that could work.
Hey, might be a thing, Bear. It might help you too. Your neuropathy. Did you ever try eating weed? No. I never really ate weed like that. I used to like eating seeds. I used to chew on the seeds and eat those, but I never ate like a bud of weed a day every day.
Yeah.
You have to eat every day, basically.
I have a friend that does that, and he swears it's been the best thing for his prostate. I don't have one, so I can't test it. And I prefer mine in tincture rather than chewing it up.
Yeah. I have a friend named Tony. He moved out to California because he had migraines and he couldn't get the correct cannabis here in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
He needed raw flower to juice.
Yeah. And
he went out there, he got his raw flower and juiced it, and he dealt with his migraines a lot better out there in California.
Be really
amazing. Powerful. Yeah. And the power of this plant, when I was on opiates for 10 years because of all my back surgeries, and I got off opiates using cannabis. It was very hard. It took me 10 months, I failed 3 times. I succeeded on the 4th time. And a few years later, I was supposed to have another surgery on my cervical spine, a 2-level. And I didn't want to go back on the pills, and I was afraid about going on the pills. But I got the pills anyway, and I put them on the dresser in case I needed them. But I had cannabis tinctures, I had edibles, I had suppositories, weed, dabs, and I basically did not use any opiates for my 2-level cervical fusion. Zero opiates. I was surprised. Yeah, I've been using cannabis my whole life, and I never expected that to happen.
Yeah, my husband fell off a roof last year and got pretty busted up. Between the recovery from the surgery and then getting back on his feet, he only had about 4.5 months of income last year, so it was pretty substantial. But once he got his leg rebuilt through surgery, he was only on the opioids for about 2 weeks before he was able to quit it all, because he could inhale THC with his medications. And so we got him a good White Widow rosin pen, and boy, that thing was powerful. It helped so much. His doctor was blown away. Basically, he broke everything in his leg that you could possibly break. It was internally not attached to his body. They had to go in rods and screws and all this stuff. So yeah, it can be a beautiful tool for that. And that was the reason I sought cannabis therapy and became a patient in 2014, was because I did not want to go into opioids. And cannabis spared me that path, for which I'm very thankful. Still no opioids as of today. And I have a very painful joint condition where my joints are unstable and they dislocate and sublux regularly.
Oh.
Cannabis has spared me opioids, which I probably wouldn't still be here if they had put me on opioids at the time. So as a nurse, I knew that, and I knew to seek alternatives. And what got me interested in the science was that using full extract cannabis oil, very concentrated THC, not only did it alleviate my pain, help my sleep, it helped many of my chronic illness conditions and symptoms. And 6 months in, it also reversed my autoimmune markers on lab tests. So that's what got my attention. Like, how could this plant, when the prednisone and the Plaquenil and the other lupus medications they had me on weren't touching my symptoms, this plant went in and reversed the condition. So that's what got me really interested in it to begin with. And then, of course, I have a daughter with autism who has benefited greatly. So my whole family has just been so blessed by this plant.
Yeah, it's a super helpful plant. It helps so many different things. Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing to me that, I think the helpful part for me was the suppositories. Mm-hmm. That really it seemed to do make a big difference with the edibles and all that together, because I made it hard on myself when I first got off the opiates. Roxycodone?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what a regular dosage of roxycodone would be, right?
You'll have to refresh my memory. It's been a while since I worked with it.
Well, every 3 hours, my dosage was 90 milligrams.
Wow.
Every 3 hours, which is a lot.
That is.
So I had to come down off that. Yeah. And I would come down to I would titrate to 30, to 15, to 8, to 4. And then I would hit a wall at 4 and I have to go cold turkey. And then the first or second day, be rough. And the third day, I just couldn't take it. I was on the fetal position on the floor. Mm-hmm. I had to go back on, and then I failed 2 more times. And it worked because I got a big bag of weed, and I just tried, smoking as much weed as I could while I had the withdrawal symptoms, and I got past it. And I tell people, if you're addicted to opiates or heroin or whatever, try cannabis, because I have pain that I am dealing with. Awful pain. If you don't have pain and you're just doing it to get high and you're addicted from getting high, you can get off it. You can do it. It's doable. It's not easy. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it's worth it, because I'm on the other side now of being tethered to a pharmacy. Mm-hmm. And I was sick of being tethered to a pharmacy. I didn't like it. Going on a trip somewhere, I had to make sure I had and no, I can't live like that. And plus, feeling like crap all the time and laying around doing nothing. And plus, I lost 40 pounds when I quit the pills. Not exercising, not eating differently. Whatever they put in those pills was 40 pounds of extra weight that they put in my body. I don't know why. And a lot of people say the same thing. Yeah. Something's in there.
Yeah. Well, it causes constipation, which can back you up and cause inflammation that can contribute to that as well. So it's, definitely not great for your body. And realistically, as medical professionals, we're supposed to do no harm. And that's our ethic. That's our ethical obligation to patients. And that means we are weighing the options for patients to treat their issues, and weighing risk versus benefit and efficacy ratings, and what might be the best place to start is going to be the least risky and the most potentially beneficial. And cannabis versus opioids, cannabis is the winner every time. So it's a shame that we're not educating this information to our medical professionals. So they end up with this stigma about cannabis. They hear it's good for everything and they think it's snake oil. They don't understand that it's feeding our endocannabinoid system, which promotes balance in the body, thereby addressing the underlying cause of every kind of illness. The underlying cause is always imbalances. So they don't understand that through that mechanism, cannabis can be useful for a variety of conditions. And they don't understand that it's all supported by legitimate science. We're not talking High Times Magazine articles. We're talking NIH and PubMed and the reputable and valid outcomes. So this really is where I am seeing the biggest gap, is that medical professionals are nervous about it. They're fearful about it. They know it's illegal, Schedule 1, so they're worried about that. It really takes passion being ignited in a medical professional for them to push through that fear and push through that gray area and learn the truth about the plant.
My one friend had breast cancer, and her breast cancer doctor gave her all kinds of drugs, but would not give her cannabis.
Wow.
Wouldn't give
Yep.
her cannabis. I'm like, what?
Yep. They're not following their ethics. They're not. And I educate medical professionals. So that's how do I appeal to them, is we have ethics driven into us in nursing and medical school. You follow these or else. And that means upholding patient autonomy, which is the patient's right to choose their medicine, and informed consent, meaning that patient has the right to understand all of their options. They have the right to be fully educated about cannabis and how it might help them. That's not happening. And that should put the fear of God into them, because if you look at historically, Nuremberg trials were a good example of what happens to medical professionals when they breach their ethics and fail to uphold them with patients. Those medical professionals were literally hung by ropes around their neck after the Nuremberg trials of Nazi Germany, where they, knowing they're the backstop for patients, they are the last wall of protection between a patient and an intervention. That's why our ethics are so important. And they failed to uphold them, and most of their excuses were to keep their job, type of thing. Didn't protect them. They were fully persecuted for not upholding. And we still have an international Nuremberg code that we are held to, that these medical professionals are not following. So it just, once you start talking to them that way, you can kind of help open their paradigm a little bit. But realistically, when I see medical professionals, light bulbs turn on is usually when I work with their patient, and then their patient comes to them and says, hey, I'm using cannabis. I'm feeling better. Can we start taking me off of some of these medications? They're so terrible. That's when they go, hey, wait a minute. This is actually a viable solution for polypharmacy. And when they see the patients reduce their pharmaceuticals and end up with better quality of life and better function, that solidifies it. That, okay, now I've seen this real world evidence of what cannabis can do for patients in need. And if they're not too fearful, then they start digging into the science and learning about it.
Pissed off handicap guy says, the doctors finally tested me. What would you do if opioids didn't work at all? Need a shoulder replacement and knee replacement.
So I would try cannabis therapy, and I would try a pain-targeted formulation, because not all strains or formulations are equal in their ability to provide pain relief. And maybe look, if you want to avoid knee replacement, and I actually am trying to avoid hip replacement right now. I'm doing physical therapy. I'm seeing a trainer. I'm going to a chiropractor, and I'm pursuing stem cell injections to avoid an unnecessary surgery. So there's lots of other alternatives. You just kind of have to feel out what might be the best for your situation.
Also acupuncture, cupping.
Right. So many options.
There's laser, there's cryo.
Yep. So many things you can do. And it's probably actually really good that opioids don't work for you, because they are so dangerous and addictive, and the side effects are miserable. So if you can find your pain relief with a natural and safe substance like cannabis, that would be a much better alternative for you. And by the way, I offer a free introductory call if anybody wants to talk to me and pick my brain and get advice on which different products might be appropriate. I'm happy to do that.
How do they reach you, Jana? How do people get in touch with you?
Well, I think my website, jannachampagne.com, should be showing. It's Janna, last name Champagne. The free guidance link is on my business website, cannabisnurseapproved.com, where there's an open source listing of therapeutic quality cannabis products that can be really hard to find in this market. Flower-derived, lab-tested, organic, and whole plant profile. That is the sticker that it's only 5 to 10% of products in the U.S. market that meet those criteria. So.
Well, thank you so much, Jenna, for coming on. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, we have fun. This is our clubhouse. We're smoking a blunt right now. Can you pass me a paper and a filter, Bear, please? Here we go. We're doing our blunts here. I know blunts are not the preferred method for a lot of people, but I enjoy them. I enjoy dabs and blunts. That's what I enjoy to help me get through the night. Thank you, sir. Don't judge me.
No judgment allowed in this forum. Ever. Too many people, even those that benefit from cannabis, judge themselves for it. And it's like, why do you do that? Like if someone else has a problem with it, that would be their problem, right?
Well, yeah, there's a stigma, and it's everywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm well aware. I'm well aware. My family is in that reefer madness crowd themselves, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Pissed off handicap guy uses cannabis daily for fibromyalgia. Torn ACL. Ow. Not repairable in knee.
Yeah, that is painful. You smoke and take RSO. So they're not able to go in and repair your ACL, not even with minimally invasive surgery. They do like the, what do they call those? Where they go in with they just make small incisions and go in with the orthoscopic. They can't do anything.
Yes, I've had that on my back.
Yeah, I've had that on my knee. KT tape is also something I just rely upon heavily to keep my joints stabilized. So if you're not allergic to adhesive, there might be a way to help kind of support your knee through KT tape temporarily anyway.
Yeah, people have latex allergies.
Some people do. I'm thankful that I tolerate it because it's so vital for me. If I didn't have KT tape on, I would be braced up everywhere, and that would be super inconvenient. So.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jen. I really appreciate you coming on with us for a little bit.
Yeah,
We're going to be doing Cannabis Patient Awareness Day on July 10th.
Nice.
So if you want to call in or take part, we're asking states to call in and talk about what your state needs, what your state's problems are for medical cannabis. And every state has their own issues.
Oh, yeah. And really just, I mean, all we can do as citizens of these states is look for how we can support patients and make this product more accessible and more affordable and provide competent guidance so these patients are privy to optimal therapeutic outcomes and not going to the dispensary and eating, meeny, miny, mo, or, potentially combining CBD they bought at a gas station with the medication that they shouldn't and having problems from that. So it's really, we have so much work to do. That's why I laugh when people in this industry get competitive because it's like, there's plenty of work for everybody.
Plenty of gas station CBD for everyone too.
Oh, unfortunately, yeah. Most of it is water.
Yeah.
Not good quality. Well, thanks for having me. Let me know
Thanks,
if you ever want me back. I'm happy to participate. So
Right on. You have a great night.
you too. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Janice Champagne, everyone. How was that? How cool was that? We get a little smarter every podcast. Did we test your mic yet, Bear? How you doing it tonight? Oh. I think it's me and you tonight.
Looks like it.
Yeah, Jim couldn't make it.
Oh boy.
I don't know what happened to Jim. He must have taken an edible.
He took a night off.
He took a night off and it took an edible. And I'm rolling a fantastic blunt right now.
A fantastic fatty.
You've heard of the Fantastic Four? This is the Fantastic Fatty. Oh, there's Sue. Hi, Sue.
Shut up. I hate you.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I really thought you were coming on there for a minute there.
I'm here.
All right. Well, what's going on? How are you?
I hate you. What's the matter? What's the matter with you? You don't check with me about...
I did. I called you before, and I told you.
Okay, well,
I didn't know. I can't keep track of everybody's thing.
Rich is coming on. Well, you need to have a little file book with me. Okay. All right. I'm going to start writing down names for you.
Give me your block list.
I will. I will. It's not that long either.
Mine's huge. You should see
Yeah.
mine.
No,
might-
mine's not. I generally just put you on ignore or block.
No,
Block is my favorite.
no activism for you. I just block them.
Yeah, that's what I do. And that's what I did.
And they get a fake account and they
good.
follow me that way.
All right, where's Rich?
I'm rolling a blunt right now, so I'm just doing my thing.
No.
I'm living my best life right now.
Okay, live your best life.
I really am.
Good. I'm happy for
This is
you.
fun for me.
Yeah, you think it's fun.
I'm fixing a filter. You know how fun it is fixing a filter on a blunt with a rolling paper? Love this.
No, you don't.
Where's Jim?
Bear's laughing at me right now. Bear's like, no, you don't.
Where's Jim?
Don't look at me like that, Bear. Stop it, man.
Bear, hit him in the head with something.
Oh, no, I got hit in the head already.
All right. Well, I think you need another little knock.
I had a large black man hit me in the head this week already. I have my quota of that. I'm done.
You done?
And it wasn't nice.
You had another one throw a water bottle at me.
Somebody
Somebody
threw
threw
a water bottle
at you? Really?
Uh-huh. I missed it, though. I didn't see it. I would have caught his license plate or something. That was funny. I could take it.
Yeah, I know you can. You're good.
I've seen worse. All right.
You believe my PCP won't clear me for surgery. I had to call out of work. Oh, boy. I've got a 10-page text message from my
From
friend.
Rich?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Rich answered me, earlier and all of that and said, see you later, Sue.
He seems like an incredible guest. I mean,
He is.
Wow.
He is. He's pretty well known. He's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Unless, I don't know, do you want me to text him or something? Say, where are you? Are you coming on? So he doesn't pull a Tim? Here, let me do this. Let's see. Oh, wait, I have two messages here. Rich, can't get past that in either Safari or Chrome, just returns it to me. Okay, he's saying he can't get on.
There's a StreamYard app he may need. Does he have an Android or an iPhone?
I don't know.
If he has an iPhone, he has to download the StreamYard app.
Okay, so I'll tell him that.
Or use a laptop. Because he's on his phone right now.
A laptop. Yeah, because that's what I use. I don't use my phone for this stuff.
No,
Use
you
a
need an app on your phone.
or download StreamYard.
Yeah,
app?
StreamYard app.
On your phone. Okay.
Yeah. So there
Yeah,
it is.
because I didn't think that would be like him to do that.
This is stoner time, everyone. So smoke them if you got them.
I eat them.
We can have a moment of silence for our friends and family right now while we light our joints. Smoke them if you got them, boys and girls.
I don't smoke. Not good for my lungs. Hey, you know what? You can get yourself a whole bottle of Myrcene. Do you know that?
Okay.
Okay. And I'll tell you how to do it. I'll text it to you.
Really?
Yeah. I've been getting them from this farm, and I believe it's in Oregon, for years. And before, I used to have to send them the cash first before everything started being okay, because I was making lotions and potions, for people. And Myrcene was the one that worked the best. That's what I text you, but I don't know. You were too busy being the host and the interviewer. And Myrcene does work the best. Anybody that had a dislocated shoulder or anything like that, they really liked. And all I did was I mixed it in with, you can just buy a jar of coconut oil.
Yes,
Okay. So you just
I have
put in
some.
a couple droppers full, or maybe I'll just make it for you and give it to you when I see you. I could do that. If you like. Okay. Was that for me? Did you see what I sent you? Huh?
What no,
Look on your phone.
look. I'm in the middle of a podcast.
I know, but look on your phone.
No.
Why?
All
Oh
right.
no, I didn't even send it to you, so never mind.
Oh my God.
Send it to you now. Okay.
It's great radio. Jim, I forgot it was Thursday night. I'm not home, and I won't be able to get there for at least an hour and a half. Spending Labor Day Monday in Tom's River has thrown my biological calendar off.
Yeah, I know. It threw everybody's calendars off. I was a little off this week too. I didn't know where I was, when I was. Let's see, Rich. Let's see what he says. Okay, I sent him the message. I don't know if he read it yet. I can send it another way. Let's see. What's the other way that I talk to him through here? Okay.
We had a good talk about stuff before. It was very interesting. I enjoyed it.
She's full of shit. Don't talk to me. You're on my list.
Oh my God. Of all the people,
I know, of all people.
I need your list. You have to give me this block list, and I'll give you mine, so you know not to invite any guests that I hate.
All right. The both of us need our lists.
We'll exchange block lists.
Yes.
This is such a wacky world we live in.
Isn't it? Here's the other way I can get Rich. Let me see.
Rich is here we go.
Is he on?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Hello.
what's up, Rich? How are you, man?
Good.
Hi, Rich. I was just going to get you another way. I was going to try another way of getting you.
I found this SteamYard guest app.
Yeah, I guess if you have an iPhone, you have to have the StreamYard Guest app. It's like this thing now. So it's the iPhone Life.
Yep. So what are we talking about?
Rich, we can talk about whatever you want, man. You're like you're busier than me, bro. I don't even know where to start with you. Like, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm not that busy these days. I don't know. Why don't you just figure out what you want to talk about and hit it?
Well, we were talking before about some Schedule 3 stuff, but I really want to talk about the Farm Bill, how that affects everything, because I know a lot of patients that use THCA and use hemp-derived products like
Right.
Delta 8,
Right.
and they tell me they enjoy it. They need it.
Yeah, hemp THC. Yeah, I agree. They do. I wish they could get a pure source of it. That's the only problem I see with it is that the process makes a really dirty process, and that's not. We're talking about an industry, a whole movement that started for patients, and now we're cool selling them poison. So nobody, Dr. Hudala tested 5,000 products and found them all dirty to varying degrees. And the companies that make the D8, et cetera, say that they're the clean one, but I literally have yet to see one chromatograph from one company where it was clean. So maybe they do, and maybe everybody's clean, and all the studies that have come out heretofore are wrong, but there's no proof of it yet. So, and I agree they need it, and it's all just workaround for the state CSA and the federal CSA. THCA is different. That's just weed.
Yeah, that is just weed. That's not hemp, right? That's different.
Yeah, that's just weed. But the others, they buy foreign CBD, they buy Chinese CBD isolate or crude or whatever, and they They subject it to strong acids and heat and convert it to delta 9 or delta 10 or delta 8. And in the process of doing all that, it makes all these other things that dozens of other compounds that we don't really know what they do. We barely have names for them. We don't know what the effects are, especially long-term effects. They're not things found in the plant. So
Oh, they're
not
not.
even D8's found in the plant.
Oh, they're not in the plant. Okay.
No, I mean D9 obviously, but D8 is extremely low if it's in there at all. It's more of a you know, like some varieties will have it, but it's usually from processing. D8, you won't see a lot. You won't be smoking D8. You're not really smoking D8. It's a process product of a process. D9 obviously, but all these other ones, these isos and these trans and these hydrogenateds and stuff. No, that's all. That's as close to hemp as a synthetic digoxin pill would be to a foxglove plant. It's not really hemp. Now the intersection of chemistry and cojones gave us all these compounds and got them into vape pens and gummies in gas stations through the South. And hallelujah, somebody had the balls to do that and make it happen, because people. I mean, I wouldn't have done it because it would be just weird. I've been talking about acidifying CBD for years to make THC, but more for the consumer and things like that. But this hydrogenated and acetates and O-acetates and all these things are all novel. These haven't been around for thousands of years like the plant has.
Yeah, I know that Big Pharma is trying to synthesize some of the cannabinoids like CBD, and they kind of did THC for years.
Well, yeah. I mean, they have it. I mean, they have dronabinol, so they've done it, but nobody wants it. People want. They don't want a single compound pill or delivery system. They want multi-molecule products. They want minor cannabinoids and THC with it and terpenes and flavonoids and stuff. So it's really the cannabis industry and the FDA are on a collision course. They're on a head-on course because they're so different. FDA is all about single molecule meds. And cannabis is all about as many molecules as possible for entourage effects. So I don't know what FDA is going to do. They're obviously with Schedule 3. They're just going to let Big Pharma do their thing. Schedule 3 is for Big Pharma. Descheduling is for you and me.
Right. That's the free plant, which we're probably not going to see that for a while.
Well, everything changes in November, and I have a feeling it's going to be a blue wave, and that we're going to be able to force Schumer to make good on his promise and not Welsh on it this time. And in the House, I mean, the MORE Act already passed once, and so it's basically the same as the CAOA that Schumer has. So once it passes in the House, it'll go to the Senate, and then it'll get signed. So I actually think it could happen next year, depending on what happens with Schedule 3, what the timing is for that. They'll let that happen first.
What's interesting in New Jersey, marijuana is still Schedule 1.
Right.
And cannabis, medical cannabis, is its own schedule. It's descheduled.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, all the states have their own CSA, and even in Colorado, it's THC is Schedule 1, and even in California, the plant is Schedule 1.
I hope that the Fed doesn't do the same thing and say, okay, marijuana is still Schedule 1, but cannabis is Schedule 3.
Yeah, they're gonna have to just let it. They're gonna have to let it go.
Let
You
it
know,
go.
they've
Please.
been beating this thing for 80, almost pushing 90 years now, and you know, they just got to give up the ghost, and that's what MORACT and CAOA do. They make them give up the ghost.
Yeah.
They still get a little taste of something because they get excise tax.
Well, in New Jersey, they're going to make $1 billion off recreational cannabis this year. But if you're a cancer patient and you grow one plant, you go to jail for 5 years.
Yeah, that's a problem. That kind of, we know better now from states that had that. Washington, it was the same until just like last year or something. State, and they legalized in 12. So yeah, that happened in Arizona and stuff. It's a canard that medical takes away from the dispos. And if they do, that's because there's a good reason. You know, patients don't go out of their way to be inconvenienced and pay more money and stuff for no good reason. So if there's a black market, or if there's a whole caregiver network like there should be, there's a reason for that. And it's because the dispos aren't serving that properly.
Yeah, I thought we had a medical program here in New Jersey, but they opened up a bunch of dispensaries. I think we're up to over 100 now. And there's still no regulations for wheelchair access. There's a bunch of dispensaries opening up without wheelchair access.
Yeah. You know, it's obvious, but they really don't care. They couldn't care less. They just could not care less. And they make it hard on everybody just to show that they can. You know, they can't do anything about opiates. They can't do anything about speed. They can't do anything about all these synthetic drugs killing people. But they become Dr. House when it becomes to marijuana, medical marijuana. So proving conditions. I mean, where did they get a medical license? You know, why is some lawyer from South New Jersey deciding that one condition is okay to be under the program? I mean, it's just crazy.
We have one person holding up medical home grow in New Jersey, and it's Senate President Scutari. And he recently said that he would consider home grow. This is a couple of years ago. He lied, though. But he's considered home grow for the sickest patients.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, the sickest patients?
Yeah, it's cruel. It's sick. It's not something somebody with empathy or a heart or compassion, or even really, frankly, a brain would say. I mean, it's just, he has no business interfering in the doctor-patient relationship like that.
You know, it's interesting. You know, my goddaughter, she just went down to North Carolina to go live with her grandmother. Okay, the kid was born with one kidney. So of course she's got type 1 diabetes. She's got gastroparesis. Do you know what that is?
Leaky gut?
Right. No, it's not really leaky gut. What it is the stomach muscles, they contract and they have excruciating pain. And I'm used to seeing this in patients that go for bariatric surgery.
Right.
But diabetics get it also. Now, so she's got a problem because the only thing that helped her when she was up here was, of course, you know, some medicinal weed. Right. And North Carolina has all these qualifying conditions in order for her to even get a card, which she'll do. But there's nothing on that list. I mean, the list is so short. It's so, you know, awful.
Yeah.
So now she's got to find a shrink that'll, you know, give her a qualifying condition like PTSD or something. Yeah. In fact, PTSD was it as far as anything mentally.
Right.
And she's been to I don't know how many hospitals in the past few weeks, you know, and whatnot. But it's I don't know, like, you know, our hands are tied. You know, I guess we'll figure it out, but it's crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, your chance to figure it out is when they deschedule at the federal level, because that, you know, all the state regs are in every state are written just to protect people and businesses from something that's still federally illegal. 10th Amendment lets the state do what they want. if as long as it's not in the Constitution, and agriculture, drugs, marijuana, cannabis, whatever, are not. So, and at the time, it was they were big in the trade of hemp and using it even as currency to pay taxes. So it was in the culture to have cannabis around. So it certainly wasn't in the Constitution to ban it. Therefore, the 10th Amendment allows the states to do what they want. And all those 10th Amendment laws are designed, like the Cole and Ogden memos, to protect them from the federal and, people like Jeff Sessions and the like. And then once the federal goes away, that whole old school protection racket goes away, and you can start from scratch, throw all those laws out and start over from scratch, learn from your mistakes, learn from the mistakes of others, and push for a complete rewrite of all of them, including descheduling, because that's the thing. Colorado and California, for instance, are still scheduled. No one got around to descheduling. Force them to deschedule so they can't throw that in your face later.
That's what I think we're all, we're trying, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to do the descheduling. I think that even though, I wrote my big public comment, like everybody else did, and, went on the descheduling rant. But we have all these powerful people in businesses that are just going to block us. And the pharmaceutical companies.
But yeah, it's possible. But there's a lot more of us than them. And at the end of the day,
Yes.
we're the entire reason they exist. Without
Yes.
us, then, but for us, none of this exists, yet we don't have a seat at the table. For instance, on those regulations, no one in their right mind would have banned home grow for medical. That's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was living in New York and I moved back here. I tell this story every week. And I moved back here in the end of August, and I forgot not that I forgot, I just completely missed it. I wasn't paying attention. I just assumed, which, you're not supposed to do, that Jersey was going to be, the same as New York, and it's not, so, you can have 7 plants and 7 people. And so that would be 49 plants you could have in one house. And then I moved back here and I have things on my balcony, and I was like, okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah, no, it's
and it's like, Rich, what the sad part is like they didn't have to rewrite the Constitution to do this. You got a state right next to you. It's I don't know. I don't get it.
We amended it. We amended the Constitution when we voted on cannabis legalization.
Yeah.
And in the vote, it said consumption, cultivation, and cultivation was in there. So we have the constitutional right to cultivate, but nobody's really taken that to court yet.
Oh, yeah. They shred the Constitution and redact it whenever they want. The same in Colorado when they legalized in 12 for adult use. The whole point was to regulate like alcohol, which includes bars, right? Lounges, consumption lounges. So the place to do it would have been Denver, and the mayor there blocked it. Unconstitutionally blocked it until he retired it last year, and they finally opened them. 12 years later or 11 years later? And again, it's unconstitutional, but what are you going to do? There's no downside for bad actors. There's no downside for being unconstitutional. They don't get fined. They don't get imprisoned. Nothing happens to them. There's no black mark on their record. They probably manage knowing that half of what they do is unconstitutional or illegal, but tough. What are you going to do? Especially back east, I suspect.
They actually say that to you. They're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, huh? Huh? Nothing.
You and what army?
Yeah, that's Qatari talking. Right. Qatari says, you wouldn't even have medical cannabis if it wasn't for me, the Don of cannabis. Kiss the ring.
Yeah,
Real tough
because he
guy.
created it. They opened up a consumption lounge right here in Hackensack.
Wow, finally, good. For just medical?
No,
Oh,
For everybody.
oh, good.
everybody.
Come on in.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is in this transition, a lot of stuff's going to be gray and people need to do it. They need to define. I mean, even these Delta 8 guys, I like that they're defining, they're pushing the envelope. They're redefining a lot of this stuff, for better or for worse. I think it'll have a huge impact on grain and fiber, negative impact. And I think it already has. With USDA and FDA, they haven't done any grants for what is hemp's biggest segment, the grain for food side. And it's all supplied by foreign companies. It would be like the easiest thing to like immediately get 50 million in sales the first year to do a seed processing plant in the US and use US grain and take away the Chinese and the Canadian seed coming in.
But they don't.
Yeah, they don't. They talk about making aircraft fuel out of the seed instead
Yeah, yeah, no, I saw that.
for jets, for Lear jets, and so Tom Cruise can say, "Oh, powered by hemp seed oil, my jet."
Mm. Yep.
I like that. That could be a thing.
What, jet fuel?
Yeah, once we get to 100 million acres like soya or in corn each, then all these sort of esoteric uses could come into play, and things that hemp could be used in but doesn't necessarily do the best in, virgin hemp, even building. But they're at what, 22,000 last year, so we're not nowhere near 90 million or 100 million.
Rich, what are your thoughts about and I always say this because this is how I feel. I feel like hallucinogenics have gone to the front of the line and weed's been kicked to the back of the line. Right?
Yeah,
Somebody, I'm waiting for somebody to really agree with me.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I've been thinking about it lately, and they have some of the people that I know personally are the least aware and self-aware and wise people speaking at these things, and they don't seem to seek out wisdom, and I think that's what we should learn from the cannabis side, is that just going with the 25-year-old because he became a instant celebrity at Burning Man isn't really enough, and I do think there's something nefarious going on in terms of how quickly it's progressed in society. And we're a long ways from Art Linkletter and talking about people jumping off buildings and trying to fly like his daughter. So I don't know. I think that there are some of the people that are involved in it, in the pushing the movement forward. I know at least one of them, and I have suspicions about them. And this totally ties into it. The fact that it like gets official sanction at high levels in Langley or something like that.
We have this cannabis nurses network, and we have about 4,500 nurses right now. So it was just like yesterday, I was just like, kind of scrolling around, seeing what everybody's up to. And one of our own nurses, she has it's an Instagram page she has, and she has got this whole little skit going on about how, everybody talks about cannabis use disorder, right? That's their new thing. Mm-hmm. And she's on there pontificating about using, what was she talking about? Oh, using using ecstasy, MDMA, to wean yourself from cannabis. And I'm like, what? What, and you're still using our network as like your platform,
Yeah.
like, and so there's a lot of that. And I hate to throw age into it, but she's a younger person. I get it. Okay, she hasn't been a nurse that long. You've never put your hands on a patient. I have a big thing about that. With all these mental health nurses, and I'm sorry, I apologize to any audience that's out there listening to me, but that's how I feel. I worked in the combat zones, so I have a different view, and I'm from years ago, but everybody seems to be twisting it. We're twisting into this now. So what does cannabis use disorder mean? And I ask this question because if you have a use disorder, that's going to go in the DSM criteria. Okay, so you know what that is, right?
Mhm.
So DSM criteria then allows for the person with the disorder to then collect disability for as long as they feel like it, until their psychiatrist or whoever it is it's got to be a shrink, I guess, signs off on them that they're cured. Well, there is no cure for addiction.
Right.
You're just in, you're just in remission, basically.
You know why there's no cure? It's all in how you define it.
Mhm.
And if you define it the way they do, it's everywhere. And so they can point to that, but it's like this excited delirium that they banned. The diagnosis itself, they banned it in the state of Colorado recently because they were using that as the diagnosis to kill these people with ketamine in the field on the street. And so they said, because of what they did in Aurora to that young violinist kid, they literally banned the use of excited delirium as a because they couldn't ban ketamine, they couldn't ban scheduled drug use, but they could ban, I guess, the use of the diagnosis, which was what they always pointed to. They just had a trial here for 4 cops, 2 paramedics and 2 cops over that murder in Aurora. So I guess it was fresh in their minds.
Now they're doing the whole investigation with Matthew Perry too. Well, because ketamine's an anesthetic. It's not a hallucinogenic.
Right.
If you're going under anesthesia, you are going to get into a dissociative state because that's how we take you down. Right.
Right.
So the whole premise of that is, I don't get it, where they're claiming that, this is so helpful, and they have facilitators that are therapists that are not medically trained.
Right.
They may be psychologically trained, but they're not medically trained, and they're screwing with stuff that they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They're not licensed to do that. Number one, I have an issue with that.
The punchline is, to treat depression, it's actually psychoactive doses. So if he's getting high on K, he ain't doing it right.
No.
Same with Elon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now they want to go find who gave him the ketamine, his extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably some guy in a white coat.
Probably, right? No different than who was that? Michael Jackson, I guess.
Right.
Or Prince, maybe.
Prince, Tom Petty. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all pretty sad, And nobody's saying a word about LSD. I find that pretty interesting too.
Yeah, that's true.
They're afraid. I think they're afraid. And I think for one reason, it's because the general public is afraid, and they know that.
The Art Link letter telling us that we're going to jump off buildings so that we can fly.
Right.
And because of Charles Manson.
Right. We can't forget the Manson crew.
It might also be because psilocybin is kind of inherently self-limiting because of the stomach thing, the gastrointestinal distress.
Yeah, but everybody knows how to microdose that, and they bring themselves up, and they know what to take, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But, ecstasy is methamphetamine. you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
so
can't
you're
do that.
it's a little scary.
My brain chemistry is such. The last two times I took it, it hit me like taking 20. It hit me like in 10 minutes, like I took 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so something about it in my brain, I don't know. They don't get along anymore.
Because you're old.
Yeah, this is a long
We're
ass
old.
time
We're old,
ago
man.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, seriously, I was like 40, but maybe it's kind of that. Yeah, all I could do is sit there.
Last week we had this guy on, Mark Worcester. Do you know him?
No.
Okay. Anyway, he's Lefty. Talk about Mark.
Well, I was going to ask you, when was the first time you smoked weed? How old were you?
Well, I was 15. I was around it since I was 6. I didn't know what it was. Literally for decades, I figured, oh, that's what those funny cigarettes were he was smoking. But yeah, 15, Santa Rosa, California.
Was there a story behind the first time you smoked it?
No, I think I didn't feel it the first time, like many did back then.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the second time, I was self-medicating for bipolar. That was just starting to express at the time. I didn't know it for another 30 years, but I agreed with it, and it agreed with me, and helped keep me sane for all that time, all this time.
Wow. Self-medicating, and you didn't know it.
Well, I think any 15-year-old that's smoking weed and taking psychs is self-medicating for something.
Yeah.
We just don't know what yet. And literally 30 years in my case. So,
I was 14 and I told the story about, yeah, we were all, having fun until one day somebody had period cramps. And somebody said, hey, I smoked a joint and my period cramps went away. So, then it became medicinal, right? We didn't know it, but, we were medicating,
right.
Which was fine.
That's why all use is medicinal. Intent is irrelevant because you weren't intending it to be medicinal when you smoked cramps, yet it was.
No.
So even if you don't want it to be medicinal, it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we were talking with this guy Mark Worcester last week, he's a nurse and he was involved with a ketamine clinic, down in Florida and whatnot. Now he does breath work and that's all he does. Mm-hmm. But we were talking about hallucinogenics. We got on the subject because I always bring it up. And I said to Mark, would you do LSD today? And he was like, heck no. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, and neither would I because, we're just too old now. And, back then it was fun. You knew you were going to be high for 12 hours. You knew kind of what to expect. And if, we knew about bad trips and we didn't take them serious. And so it wasn't a serious thing to us. But today, in our adult bodies and as we age, and the rest of the general public that is going to start playing with this stuff, I think that's why nobody's talking about it. They don't want to yet.
Yeah.
The other stuff out there first.
Today is so different than the 70s, socially, culturally.
Yeah.
That I don't know, man. I wonder, I mean, it's just, we were so innocent and naive back then. Pre-DEA, pre-churning brother on brother, mother on son, narking them out, narcs everywhere. Pre all that stuff, it was a pretty sweet time until Reagan took over, and so today, I don't know, man. Just the paranoia just reeks everywhere today. It'd be hard, it'd be weird. I used to do it at Burning Man every Thursday night for the 5 years I was there, around turn of the century.
And it was fun, right?
Yeah, I'd go out. I'd be out all night. I'd do it at dusk, and then 4 total would go just go do Burning Man at night because that's kind of the best time to do it, especially on acid. Okay,
Lefty, I'll be quiet now. You can talk.
No, that looks fun. I've never been to Burning Man.
I have some
I
great
don't know how.
pictures from there.
I went there. It was 24,000 people, and I thought it was too many. It was the last time I was there, 2000, and now it's what 80,000 or something.
Woo.
You didn't come to Woodstock?
It's
I
huge.
was there.
Yeah. Oh, this last time.
Well, yeah, I'm from this. This is my area.
Oh. Gerlach.
What's that?
Reno. Yeah.
No, I'm not in Reno. I'm in Jersey.
Jersey, right? Yeah, there's a lot of people from Frisco there, though. In Burning Man, it's kind of a Frisco scene in a way.
Well, I got a lot of cool pictures of people from there.
Mm. I had a friend who was a photographer. You'd seen his work in High Times a million times, and Gabe and I told him, look, man, you got to come to Burning Man, for some photographer
Wonderful.
heaven. And he said, oh, okay, and he begrudgingly came. He ended up having his work in displayed at some fancy gallery in New York that had all this Burning Man art, and he ended up selling a bunch of it and making a book of it, I think, and stuff. And it totally changed his life as a photographer professionally, being there.
Yeah, it sells. It sells.
I might have the only photograph ever of him in the wild, and I took it at Burning Man.
Richard, what's your favorite munchie food?
This is Lefty's favorite question.
I don't know, man. I kind of think I don't have one, honestly.
I don't either. I don't have a favorite.
Yeah, I can't eat every time I get high, and years ago, yeah, I probably did. Probably potato chips.
Oh yeah,
Easy. Yeah, they're easy.
Old school. The hemp nut products we made were kind of for the munchies.
Were they?
Yeah, the chocolate chip cookies and the corn chips, organic corn chips, and the energy bar and nut butter, cheeseburger, stuff like that. A couple of things. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of all munchy food if you think about it. Americanized munchy food made out of hemp seed.
making me hungry now.
You know Heather Manis, right? You know Heather. Okay, yeah. Heather used to make the little chocolate nibs. They were good. They were like, I don't know, 10 milligrams each, but they were good.
Yeah, no, that would be a good product. That'd be a great product.
Yeah,
You'd eat too many of them.
That.
You kind of want them tart or something because you might eat too many of them.
Yeah, they were good. They were really good, and you didn't eat too many. I only knew one person that did.
Huh.
And she doesn't do well anyway. So
it's easy to do.
Yeah.
We've all done it. I have, when I lived in Italy, I didn't have access to anything, so I had used black market, and I'd make brownies for my wife, and I would try it first to make sure it was copacetic before she did, and so I tasted a little bit, and one time it was so strong, and I said, "Here, take my phone and hide it till morning, please." It was probably like 800 milligrams or something, like a small piece to test.
Wow,
Oops.
that's a lot.
So your wife didn't get any?
What's that?
Your wife didn't get any?
Oh, well, no, she got the rest of it, but I got the first piece, and the subsequent pieces were cut in half. So.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like hemp granola bars.
Yeah, it's a good way to get protein and omega 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a booth at Englishtown 30 years ago, and I would give away pieces of hemp granola.
Mm-hmm.
And the prosecutor's office was over checking it out, and I'm sure they took some of it, tested it.
Yeah,
It was just hemp granola. That's all it was.
Yeah.
We had hemp seed oil, a bunch of hemp seed oil.
Yeah. In New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're allowed to have that.
So what are you doing now? Like, what's your new? Do you have anything new coming up? Or are you just waiting this out?
I'm trying to be retired, and so I'm trying to not do anything. I don't really do anything for money. I just get Social Security, and that is great. And I putter in the garden, and I try not to do any work. I don't consult. I have no clients or any of that. I do have my book about to come out, How to Start a Hemp Food Business. It's called Seedy, exclamation mark. And it tells you, it's like for around 45,000 words, and it tells you basically how to, everything you need to know to start a hemp food business and successfully.
So when's that coming out? Hi, Joanne.
Hey,
Good to see you.
good. You too. So wait, we're talking about hemp food book.
A book, yeah.
Yeah, Rich is telling us about his book.
Making me hungry.
Yeah, I eat hemp seeds every day.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this is how to start a business. You don't need a factory or land or equipment or much really to do it. And it's the model's proven. It's 100% legal, validated, been around for decades. It's hemp's biggest segment, first $1 billion segment, most retailers, most customers, most companies, most products, driving the most acres globally, millions of consumers around the world. It's 100% legal everywhere. It's on every shelf in America, pretty much every grocery shelf. It's just waiting for people to dive in and make it so.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So what's next?
That book, and then probably I disconnect my phone or something.
How do people get a hold of your book?
It'll be announced. It'll be obvious. It'll probably be a download on the Hemp Food Association site. That's the-hfa.org, thehfa.org. And I have a ton of downloads there, free downloads, and emerging studies on hemp seed. They're finding a lot of medical discoveries in hemp seed products, and original articles, and let's see what else. Yeah, stuff. Oh, there's a directory there, about 200 hemp food companies around the world, stuff like that. I am trying to be retired, though. It's just I've been doing this 30 years, cannabis activism 52 years, since 72, and food 44 years. I'm just, done.
They're going to suck you right back in.
That's why I'm going to disconnect the phone.
Joanne, where do you get your hemp seed from? Because I wish I could have hemp seed every day.
Trader Joe's.
Oh, okay.
Costco.
Yeah.
Costco
Yeah.
has the best price.
He's right. They sell it everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Not expensive.
It did seem to go up. I was buying it. It was like $7 a bag. Now it's like $10 a bag.
Like everything else.
Inflation.
Yeah.
I go to Trader Joe's too. I like Trader Joe's.
Yeah. Yeah, they got some good stuff. I pretty much put it in smoothies because I need like the iron and magnesium from it.
So wait, these are viable seeds? They'll grow?
No.
No.
No, they're edible.
I had hemp seeds one time. Jenny Storms gave me a bag of hemp seeds. 1,000 hemp seeds. Or no, 10,000. It was a huge bag, a pillow. And we just threw them everywhere. All over, like Johnny Appleseed. Just everywhere we threw hemp seeds.
All right.
It was the best summer ever.
The downwind pot growers hated you.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. The ones I buy are hulled, so they're soft.
They won't grow.
Yeah.
They won't grow. Yeah, I was the first to bring that in, and before that, yet for whole seed, you had to have a sterilization certificate and the phytosanitary certificate. And I had the phytosanitary, but not the sterilization, because I didn't want to sterilize shelled seed, and because it was redundant. And so I didn't, and it was fine. But nobody had done it till then, and they didn't seem to care because we called it food. It was really food at that point. It wasn't really seed anymore. It was bird seed, and then once you shell it, it's food, human food.
Yeah, that's right. It is bird seed. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I think Trader Joe's ones are from Canada, actually. I think they still get it source from Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, they probably get from Manitoba Harvest. We actually pitched hemprella and hemp nut, shelled hemp seed to them in the 90s, because they were a third of our business, Trader Joe's, back in like the late half of the 90s. We did like $1 million at least with them.
Wow.
They had our label. It was back before they did everything private label, Trader Joe's brand.
Mhm.
And they had our Tofarella label on it, and they cut it and wrapped it so it was half the price of the stuff at the health food store across the street. So they sold a lot of it consequently, and they were great to deal with back then. They paid fast, under 10 days, and they didn't take spurious, returns and stuff. They were great. And then they sold to the German family that owns Aldi's, I think, Aldi, and totally changed. And now they're kind of more ruthless. But back then they were like the dream customer. In fact, I think we got bought out by our competitor because of Trader Joe's, because of our business there. They wanted it, and the only way to get it was to buy us out.
Wow.
And so they did, but Trader Joe's got pitched that stuff way back when, but it didn't make sense until probably the last 15 years or so for them to bring it in.
Yeah, they used to be. They're still a dream vendor.
Yeah, well, we were a dream vendor, and they were the dream customer, and then it all went to hell. Afterwards, we sold, they sold, and then the new people were not so good. But this book is all about how to develop products that Trader Joe's might carry, like a chip or a bread or a bun or a bagel or a schmear or a hummus or a ice cream or a tofu or a milk or a soda or a candy or an energy bar, something like that, a dip. Like a artichoke dip that has shelled hemp seed in it, blended into it. You don't notice it. There's a million products that could be on the shelves, and this book walks you through how to do that, how to figure that out, and make it happen. And it could be a hemp chocolate. It could, there's a zillion products that it could be in, and couldn't be any easier. For an entrepreneur or a company to, quote, get into hemp.
Well, like we were saying about Trader Joe's getting bought out, that seems the way everything's gone now. Bought out and gotten worse.
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
inevitable.
even get a book
It
anywhere,
changes.
unless you use Amazon.
Yeah,
Nothing.
Yeah, everybody's in. Yeah, it's a problem. Whole Foods they were perfect for each other. They're both libertarians who don't like people, but Whole Foods and Amazon, and now it's Amazon.
I'm
Whole
married.
Foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a marriage made in heaven. John Mackey and Jeff Bezos.
Mm-hmm. Whole Foods is expensive, though. At least
Yeah,
the one here is.
I haven't been in the Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I still call them Whole Frauds Market, but that was because I've known them since the 80s and sold to them for years. They cost me millions because of their stupid ingredient policy. They didn't care if a product had stuff in it. They just didn't want it on the label.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
So if you put it on the label,
Sounds very secretive.
they penalize because they act like you're the only one. It's crazy.
It's a secret.
Yeah, it's super political, and it's always been that way. Well, Walmart brought in organics, I don't know, 20 years ago, 15, and John Mackey had a big meeting with all the vendors, big vendors, and said, you sell to Walmart and you're out at Whole Foods. And a year later, they were all selling to Walmart and Whole Foods, both. So, and Walmart became the biggest vendor of organics a couple years later, biggest vendor of organics in the country. So.
They're like the biggest vendor of everything, though, because now we read that Target is lowering their prices to be more competitive with Walmart, which I don't go into either one of them because I don't have any reason to. Yeah, but that's what they're doing up here.
I told Lefty I went to Target to see if that was true, and I said I didn't notice the difference, but I don't know when they're going to start.
Yeah,
maybe they didn't start yet.
Yeah, the thing about pricing is that it's super counterintuitive. It's a black art. I actually went back to university for 5 years full time to study partly pricing because it's counterintuitive consumer behavior. And it's really easy to raise a price and it's really hard to lower it. So their conundrum was once the supply chain problems got solved and they were making a big margin on stuff, as was everybody else, how do you reduce the price? It's hard to just reduce it. And the way they did it was turn it into a marketing advantage and say, hey, we're doing this big thing for you because we love you customers and we're going to lower the prices. And you don't just quietly cut a few cents off things. You make a big, you spend more on publicizing it maybe than you even give back at the end of the day. And so they're kind of they're being brilliant about it that way. But in the trade, you reduce prices using discounts, different discounts, and you get it to whatever price you want it. But psychologically, it's better. Well, folks, I should go. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Y'all, ladies,
I got a question for you.
Ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. What can I?
You got a friend who's down on his luck, who's upset or sad. What's something you would say to them to cheer them up, to lift their spirits, something like maybe a life lesson or a life gem? What would you tell that person to lift their spirits?
Having been there so often, the honest, you're not going to like the answer, but the honest to God answer is spark this up.
I've heard that quite a few times.
Yeah, because
you
know, if you're down, literally the only thing that helps. I mean, all the Zoloft and Xanax and Abilify and lithium in the world doesn't touch what one puff does.
Right on, brother. I hear you.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it weren't so. I'd be long dead. I threw out all the psych drugs in 2012 and just relied on cannabis since then. And it's, I should have did it way earlier. It made me stupid as a rock, gabapentin and stuff.
Yeah, I was on gabapentin for 10 years, opiates for 10 years. I'm off all that stuff using cannabis.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it made me dumb as a rock. I realized later, I go, oh, geez, that really affected me all those years. So I'm really grateful. Yeah. And I would say spark it up.
Right on, brother. Well, thank you so much for your time. And give me your website again.
I have a couple. There's therichardrose.com. Oh, no. Start over. therichardrosereport.com. That's the first one I did. And then a couple years ago. And then the Hemp Food Association is at the-hfa.org.
There's one I subscribe to.
Yeah, either one. I haven't sent diddly out in months, and I was trying to do an Irish exit out the hemp party and hope nobody would notice. So I appreciate you giving the email, and someday you might get an email. I have like
All right.
5,000 on that list or something. So,
Mhm.
so thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Thanks, Richard.
Thank you
My
very much.
pleasure. Cheers,
See you,
folks.
Okay.
Cheers. Bye
I'll
now.
see you online.
All right. Hit me up anytime. Bye now.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Well, that was cool.
He's a nice guy, right?
Yeah. Very cool. You get the best guests, Sue.
I
But so
do.
I.
And don't you forget that.
But so do I. Look who I got. I got Joanne
I
Z.
know you, and I gave you kudos before when you told me Joanne was going to be on. However, you're never mind.
And I didn't know who that was going to be, but yeah, I try to eat hemp every day, hemp seeds every day. It's because it's, a complete food. And being an older woman, I have like iron issues, and they have the most iron out of like a simple seed. What's that?
You're not that
I'm
old.
gonna be 50.
Oh, you poor thing. Oh,
Yeah.
you're still young.
Oh, I don't feel it.
That's
But,
okay. You'll get over it.
yeah.
You'll get over it. It's just that 50, menopause thing.
Yeah.
Then it goes away. And then you'll be happy.
Well, it's the working full time at this age is probably the problem.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's so many people that aren't working. Contrary to what they say on the news about the job market, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thankful. But did you guys get to discuss, or I know Lefty brought up some topics you all were going to discuss. I don't know if you got a chance to yet, but I was actually working while I was running a little late.
What were the topics you were going to discuss, or did you discuss them with your first guest?
Yeah, what topics?
You said Schedule 3 in New Jersey.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And how that would affect stuff. But did you guys get to talk about that yet?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about everything.
We've been talking about that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Because you know a lot about what's going on here in New Jersey, and there's a lot of suffering going on needlessly, and we're kind of sick of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I try to stay on top of it. Like when I was there in New Jersey, I was working rather than full time. It was 2 part-time jobs for a long time, and I had extra time, but to do stuff and research and share stuff, and it's like so hard now with just like any time I have off, it's sleeping or trying to like recoup from
right?
Yeah. But when you brought up Schedule 3, like I was telling you, for a long time I didn't pay attention to any of the federal stuff because I just felt like it was so far off, which, and I dedicated time to New Jersey, but it still seems like it's still so far off. So
yeah, it's going to take a while. It's got to go through all those other committees, and everybody's going to do their jumping up and down about it. And I don't know, there's one side of the fence that says we're not going to get descheduled, although that's what we want. But who knows? I don't know. Nobody said, everybody said Trump would never be president, including me. And, and here we have today.
Yeah, well, that was a little good news today.
It was a very little good news. I am 5 minutes from that bridge, okay? And I tell you, there are cops crawling all over the place. It's just, it's not. We're in for a rough ride. We are. So we all have to keep ourselves happy in one way, shape, or form.
I think that's kind of why they're like loosening the cannabis laws, because they know it's can't take much more.
Yeah, they want to keep us stoned, at least.
Yeah, I think that's a distraction. But I also wonder, like, if this whole political maneuver that's going on too is a distraction from what is really going on, because I never trust what we see, you know. So who knows? I don't know. The Schedule 3 thing, I think that really had to do with that has to do with the election, because Biden wants the votes, right? And a friend of mine, she was with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, and she's really a sweet, nice person, but she can be very not gullible is not the right word. That's not the word I want to use, but just influenced by these nice ladies, because they are cool. They're cool ladies.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, forget about him and forget about Trump and forget about all of them. Maybe everybody said Trump wasn't going to get elected. Well, okay, Robert Kennedy's out there, Jr. Nobody likes him, but maybe there's a reason why nobody likes him. And everybody said whatever they said about the other one. So I don't know. I don't know what the alternative is. What is the alternative? And that's the conversation I had with my brother before. So what's the alternative? Mickey Mouse? Like who?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's an election thing, and because Biden's going to take credit for whatever, but the rest of it is going to move at its own pace. I don't think he has that much control over it.
Yeah. Well, saying he wants to end arrests and then Schedule 3, I don't know. That's
Yeah, I don't like the schedule thing. It's too limiting.
yeah. Well, I was going to say Lefty brought up maybe that would help insurance coverage in New Jersey, but
No,
I think, yeah, I was going to say in New Jersey, especially with that case that just passed where they said New Jersey's state right supersedes the federal law, and
that's
that
everything.
and New Jersey they descheduled cannabis, but they still the marijuana is still Schedule 1. It's just decriminalized. So cannabis, I believe, the medical cannabis is considered cannabis, so it's descheduled. So I don't know how that would fit in with, insurance coverage but I was telling him the insurance bills that are there now, they could have passed years ago because it's through the state programs. And I looked it up before I got on here because I was complaining to CMMNJ how Assemblyman Conaway, who was the main sponsor of the two versions of the two medical coverage bills. There's three medical coverage bills: the workers' comp, the NG Family Care, which I think covers 25% or something like that, and then the catastrophic illnesses. I think that's one of them. The children's catastrophic illnesses, yeah, and the senior gold. And he introduced all of those the last session or two sessions, and then actually the last session. And I noticed because he was at an event with and he was promoting the psilocybin bill, and I was like, and I looked, and he didn't re-sponsor the insurance coverage bills, and I was like, well, he's pushing this now, and he hasn't even, who's doing that? But I just looked, and the bill S1943, which is the workers' comp PIP, health insurance coverage for medical cannabis under certain circumstances, and he reintroduced it May 16th. So I don't know if someone said something to him or what, but he didn't reintroduce the other one, the 1944, which is the that's the catastrophic illnesses, PAD, and senior gold. So that one's still, there's no assembly companion bill for that. And someone should probably call them up.
Interesting.
Well, yeah. So, if they're really serious about it, or like they say they are, and, I tell people that want to help, Assemblyman Berzicelli, who was District 3, and he's now Senator Berzicelli, when we had the die-in, left Sativa Cross and me at the State House, I think it was like 2019, Assemblyman Berzicelli, he like walked over us, and I jumped up and I asked him about homegrown, and he's like, well, his solution was these insurance coverage bills. And I was like, well, that's way off. And even though, growing your own takes time, they'll be able to harvest way sooner than you're going to pass this bill, and then he was not reelected. So, but I thought he was a sponsor on the bill, but he's not. So that's another, I'd like to press him on that, given that that's what he said. So, yeah. And I guess, I don't know if Conaway's still running for Senate, but.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because I thought maybe that's why he wasn't reintroduced, but he was already reintroducing other bills. So I was like, he seemed to leave that one out of the dust.
Let's see.
Leave those medical coverage bills in the dust.
Yeah, I think Jim's looking to go to one of his campaign events.
Yeah. Yeah, and from what, Ken, we were discussing, like, trying to find out, and apparently Conaway takes responsibility for making it a patient doctor focused program back in 2009.
He's Barry Conaway.
What's that?
Barry Conaway, right?
No, Herb, ironically. Herb Conaway.
His name is Herb.
Dr.
Herb. Funny. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Herb Conaway. And yeah, I mean, that's great, but patient doctor focus didn't help people for a decade, pretty much. I mean, and if anybody that was in the program, had to pay a lot, and it was hard. It was hard access.
His name should be Herb Gonaway. Herb Gonaway.
Yeah, pretty much. There you go, Lefty.
He's a doctor.
He took homegrow out of the bill. He did.
Well, I'm sure there was some discussion about, like the focus being doctor centric, like pharmaceutical centric,
Yeah.
which especially back then wasn't going to happen. I'm sure they're all on it now, but especially with the Schedule 3 possibility.
Yeah, he's still running for Congress. Blah blah blah. Through his work as a doctor legislator, and there he is. There's his picture. He's there.
So he'll be a fun guy to troll.
Well, it was him and Scutari who we were targeting with our petition for a long time.
Oh, he works out of St. Francis.
And I believe it was Patrick Duff. Sorry if you hear a jet. We have. I'm right by the base, and we have jets that fly over all the time. You can't hear yourself. You got to pause for a second. But I think it was Patrick Duff. One of the hearings for legalization, Conaway was saying how he thinks that if we don't decriminalize home grow, that it'll just create the issue that we're trying to solve. But I know there's few arrests for it, because I've been looking at the arrest records, and I don't know what years I have, but I think it goes up to 2023. And, I'm not sure what they're actually doing in prosecutions as far as this goes. And, with just how they're handling it. I don't know if the federal loophole has anything to do with that or what, but I don't know, or just the state's position on it, what they've done, if the attorney general's done anything.
He says, I recently stopped by and spoke with the Coalition for Medical Marijuana for remembering the 60s.
Oh yeah, that was the event.
Yeah. Here it is. Yeah. And thank you for having me. And he's got pictures. And that's it. He doesn't say anything else. I'm gonna follow. Huh.
Yeah, Jim's going to follow him around, I think, for a while.
Well, I didn't mean I was physically gonna follow.
No, he's going to follow him on his campaign trail and question him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Jim's good at that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it says here, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Employment insurance benefits would be extended to cover the costs of medical marijuana patients for registered patients in Jersey under the bill when it clears. And must be covered via workman's comp or PIP. Yeah, just what you said. And they have the other guy's name here. Assembly members John Buccelli, Herb Conaway, and Joanne Downey.
Oh yeah, Berzacelli was. He was a sponsor on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now he's a senator. I think people should call on him. He's District 3. He replaced Senator Durr, who now is running for governor.
District 3. I mean, I'll take a call. I don't have any.
Legislative district. Yeah. Yeah.
Put it in my
That
phone.
was Senator Sweeney, who he's also running for governor.
Buccelli in districts.
I didn't know Senator Durr was running for governor.
Yeah, after I shared that list with you, I noticed he got added. It was must have been like a day later. So weird. And some other guy, I'm not sure.
Wow.
But even though Ross Baraka, in fact, I think it was you that filmed it, Lefty, when they did one of the first hearings on legalization, and he was saying, and I'd love to quote him on this, if the big money people that want home grow, if they want home grow, then you'll have home grow, but that's kind of his way of saying who's pushing legalization to them that day. But
He was having a moment, I guess.
oh, that was Senator Rice. Sorry, Senator Rice. I think Lefty filmed it, and he was there. And Mayor Ross Baraka, he was the mayor then, and he's running for governor. And and he did an amazing testimony at the state. I think it was right before Ken did. And I guess, he was saying that it should come from a legal place, a legal store. It's kind of like what some others have said, not a free-for-all. But I think he would side with, the people. Ross Baraka would.
Well,
He'd be my choice.
if it's presented in a way, well, it is a free-for-all now because medical patients can't do home grow, right? So rather than having to waste time going to a physician, and even if they went to Schedule 3, waste time going to a physician to get a script when you could just go get it yourself, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all in that same basket of, laundry. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a free-for-all to buy from a dispensary. That's what it is. When they say free-for-all, they mean everybody growing it and selling it, pretty much.
Yeah, come on. They need to get over that already.
Farmers market.
Really, first of all, the market is very saturated. and they don't make any sense when they say stuff like that. They really don't. You know, that may sound good for like people like Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg, their little trice that's going on out there, or whoever, you know, but that doesn't sound good to, like, you know, us bottom feeders, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, New Jersey seemed to do, you know, as best with equitable licensing as I know the CRC was trying, but you know, they got a lot of pressure from the governor and the legislature on opening up the market, and you know, then we have the 10 growers that have, you know, the corporate growers, and you know, that was the problem, but I guess it had to start somewhere where they were at. So, but I think they've done, you know, they've tried to do their best at that somewhat, and you know, I'm happy for an equitable market. I'm, you know, anybody that's been harmed by prohibition should be, you know, first in line to get in the market, but it's a lot of it's so tough with the money that you need and all of that, and the towns doing what they do, and we learned that before legalization. Thanks to Lefty, we learned all about that before legalization even came to be. Because like every town we've gone to, and Lefties, you know, I've only been to a handful. There's always something going on. It's always something crazy behind the scenes. Someone's doing a deal, like just always something. In the smallest town, you'd be surprised the drama that goes on. Yeah, it's really. I'm sure it's pretty much everywhere, but yeah, New Jersey's like hyper.
Down the shore.
That's that's what we're known for.
Down the shore is the worst. Shore towns.
Yeah, they're really crazy. You know, I was telling Lefty and Jim, like, it's not like that up here, you know, where I live. You know, because
I'm not so sure, because we Garfield was one of the craziest towns.
Oh, yeah.
Garfield and Clifton, probably two of the craziest.
Clifton is a lot like Patterson, so you kind of have to like take that into consideration. And a lot of people don't like to go to Clifton because of that. You know, I still live in Garfield. It's changed to a degree, but you know, it's still Garfield.
That was a crazy one.
In fact, you know, I can't tell you how many times I moved in and out of Garfield because the rent was cheap. You know, back when.
Yeah, that's like cheapest in Bergen County, I think. Yeah.
But like the rest of Bergen County, like nobody pays attention to anything. Nobody cares. And life just goes on, you know. So and Hudson County is the same way. And probably Essex County, you know, in its own way of being Essex County. You know, because you got Newark, you got Patterson, you got Irvington, you know, you've got those really sketchy places. So I don't know, you know, but nobody says anything. Nobody bothers anybody around here because we're too close to the city. The stuff that's going on in the city, you know, when Governor Holtz gets on the news and she starts blabbing about, you know, how many illegals they're closing down. Those people were there before anybody had businesses. They're not leaving. They're not leaving. You know, the faces may change, but they're not leaving. You know, so it's and it's only going to get weirder. You know, it's going to get very this year.
Right. I just saw the thing today about. I should repost it, but I think it was the NJ Cannabis Industry Cannabis Business Association about liquor stores wanting to sell cannabis infused alcohol.
I bet they do. Yeah.
And how that, you know, a big problem.
Yeah, that's really a big problem. Yeah. See, and that's what happens. And then all the crazies come out and they want to do all this stuff. you know. And then that's what gives, you know, it's just like when, you know, I always say, like, you know, like we have this nurse in the network that's a pole dancer. Okay, like that's fine if that's what you want to do, but don't go online telling people you're a pole dancer and using Cannabis Nurses Network, you know, as your
I guess. I mean, it's like now a fitness thing, isn't it? I mean, I guess it
I
depends
don't
on
care
where
what
you.
it is when you're
I
when
think
you're
it depends
turned
on where
upside
you
down
do
with
it.
your coach hanging out. Come on, man. You know, you know, I understand sex sells, but like, don't do that. You know, do it on your own time. Don't do
Yeah,
stupid things. You know, because that's when those other people that are supposed to take us serious don't, because they have
yeah,
an excuse not to, whether they care or not. And most of the times they don't care, you know, but then they have an excuse, you know. So don't give them an excuse, you know.
Especially
That's
if the pole
yeah.
breaks. We don't want the pole breaking and falling down. That's terrible.
it would be terrible. It really would be. I thought it was pretty funny when I first saw it. I was like, wow, that's amusing. Okay.
Yeah, I
But
think they. Oh well, like it's like that the hoop dance,
oh
like
yeah, whoop.
or the what is it? The ribbons where you like they have the ribbons on the ceiling and you kind of like roll up and down the ribbon. It's kind of like pole dancing, but I
It's
guess it
yeah,
sounds a little more artistic.
yeah, because yoga does that too. They have the you know, they swing on the ropes and what have you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's all the same thing. It's just, you know, what you call it. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I want to thank CMMNJ. I want to thank Canasense, UFCW, Local 152, Jackson Storm, Smoking Monkey, Arlo Glass, OprahMachine.com, and SativaCross.org.
Nice.
And we thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to do our list. I'm going to stick around for a minute. It's a hurtful list, but sometimes it's hopeful, sometimes it's helpful, but mostly hurtful because these are all our friends and family that are passed away. And this is why we do what we do. This is why we're doing 710 for Cannabis Patient Awareness Day, because we're getting forgotten about. And we're not going to forget cannabis patients, and we're not going to forget the people on this list. That's why we have this list. We've literally watched our friends suffer and die on this list.
Yep.
This list wasn't that long 10 years ago when we started doing it. But it starts with Cheryl Miller. And you all know the story about Cheryl. Pretty much ground zero for medical cannabis in New Jersey. And I watched as she was helped by it.
It was her birthday recently, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I didn't know how cannabis helped multiple sclerosis until I saw Cheryl and how it helped her and how she was rigid and she couldn't move her arms. And then when Jim would give her the cannabis, she could move her arms and he would exercise her that way. And it just blew me away. And that's when I started doing a deep dive on cannabis for other reasons other than my own selfish reasons of wanting to get stoned. I said, wow, this really helps people. The government lied to me. My parents lied to me. Everybody lied to me. A bunch of liars. What the hell's going on here? Why is everyone lying to me about this plant?
Yeah, and people died because of those lies.
Yeah, people suffered because of that friggin' stigma. I'm sick of the stigma already. Cheryl couldn't get cannabis legally in her lifetime.
That's just so sad, isn't it?
It's awful. And she put herself out there and amazing activism, what she did. Her and Jim together.
Yep.
But that was her. She wanted to do that. She wanted to get arrested. She wanted to go use cannabis at the these houses, state houses and such. Well, it just gets sadder because then you got Sabina Rose, a 15-month-old baby who died from a 25-hour seizure from
She had Dravet syndrome,
Dravet
right?
syndrome. Yeah.
That came up in my history too, Lefty.
Yeah.
That's her fundraiser is when I first met you. Sabina Rose.
Where was that?
It was kind of out your way, off of Route 80, wherever they lived. Not sure where that was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That was the
Okay.
first time I ever had oatmeal pancakes. They were like the best pancakes I ever had.
That's right.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oatmeal blueberry, I think they were.
Where was that?
I can't remember. Yeah, the little place, that was a really good place. I hope they're still around.
Was it Rockaway
Yeah, I think it was Rockaway.
or
Could have been
Hepatcom?
Rockaway. Either or.
Could have been Hepatcom or Rockaway. I'm not sure. Well, then there's Diane Ripatella, who was at the New Jersey State House many times. Gracie, Cindy May, Marie, Jack, Joan Ford, who was William's mother, Randy Robertson. Randy Robertson had the Whipple procedure done to him. You know what the Whipple procedure is?
Yeah.
It's when you have cancer and they take out all your organs. They take it all out. But they wouldn't give him medical cannabis.
They don't take all your organs out. What a Whipple is, they remove the head of the pancreas. And it's a hard surgery, but it's not a given either. And it's an old surgery that they've been using for years. There's only so many doctors that will even attempt to do that surgery. And I think you have to be at an end stage before they'll even attempt it. And it's not always successful. That's rough.
Would you believe they gave him that before they gave him medical cannabis? They waited till after the Whipple procedure to give him medical cannabis.
And he gave great testimony, and I think part of that is what got medical cannabis in Pennsylvania.
He had pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
His liver, his pancreas, stomach, everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. That cancer just is bad.
Polly, Bill Buckman, Chad, Jeremy, Colette, Matt, Troy, Russ Perry, Roger Barber, Jay, Ella Bagelman, Hattie Koshel. Hattie's my grandma. I used to go bring her a vape bag every day and get her high. I originally told her I was testing her breathing. I said, "Here, I'm going to test your breathing out, Grandma." So I knew she was in pain, and I was trying to help her. And then after a while, every day I would test her breathing. She'd be asking for it. Like if I didn't give it to her right away, she'd be like, "Hey, Edward, aren't we testing my breathing today?" Okay, here, I got it right here. Here you go.
That's a good story.
She enjoyed it.
That's a good grandson.
Because you can fill up a vape bag up by me and then drive it down an hour later. It's still good. Vape doesn't go anywhere. So
What, like a volcano?
Yeah, volcano vape. Yeah.
Yeah. That was Jeremy's favorite.
Yeah, you could drive around with that all day and it was fine. Jackie Rickard, Anthony, Jake, Armando, Felicia, Lynn, Dan, Sean, Joyce, Lori, Frank, Brian, Flo, Thorne, Frank, Lorraine, Terry, Charlotte Figgy, Cher, Jaybird, Michael, Marley, Colette, Brendan, Red, Rico, Lulu, Becky, Lawanda, Chip, Paul, Lisa, Marcus, and Jeff. Like I said, hurtful list today for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Hey, you know what? I just thought of a topic maybe we want to talk about next week, and um, because it's been a topic that I've been talking about for the past 2 days. Ryan's Law.
Yeah, what is Ryan's Law? Refresh our memory.
Okay, Ryan's Law was a kid that had autism, and so in certain states, Ryan's Law goes certain ways. Under the Compassionate Care Act. So with Ryan's Law in California, in the state of California, they can bring in medicinal cannabis to patients. Neither the caregiver or the patient can use their medicine. Okay, so that's California. Now in South Carolina and North Carolina, it's different. They only refer to, I think it's the autistic and maybe some other special needs. But the way they have it worded is that they can use their own medicine. It's kind of like, I'm not saying it the right way, but that's how they have it. So it is floating around out there, and it would be really good if we could at least get that. I do know the lawyer that did write the whole act about it. So if maybe we can invite him on and tap into him, and see what Kenny has to say.
Well, we have it you have it in New Jersey. It's just the CRC hasn't implemented it yet with the institutional caregiving. And
that's where Ryan's Law fits in.
Yeah, it's like they should have done that before legalization, but it's, I guess, what do they say? Baby steps, something like that.
Or stepping backwards.
But Schedule 3 should really, I mean, if they ever get around to that should help with that for sure.
Maybe
I would think, but I don't know
sure, because there's nothing is it for sure, because for hospitals and institutions, they all have different sets of rules. For the big hospital, consortiums that we have now, their set of rules are different. Their accreditation requirements are different. And then when you go down a step, into your long-term care facilities or skilled nursing facilities, they like to call them, that's a different set of regulations. And then with the healthcare providers that could prescribe, if there was a Schedule 3, if that's what it comes to, that's going to fall into another whole list of regulations. And then also don't forget the dispensaries. If they schedule it as a Schedule 3, the dispensaries have to get a DEA license, and they have to go through all of that same rigmarole that a pharmacy does. It'll be exactly the same.
Well, and then the issue that I brought up before, the way New Jersey descheduled cannabis, but it's marijuana. I mean, I guess it would be Schedule 3.
Yeah, it's ambiguous.
What's that? Yeah. Well, hopefully I feel bad for Rowan and everybody that's been in the hospital and,
My sister-in-law, she's a stage 4 colon rectal patient, and right now she's in a rehab, just because she has a PICC line, so she needs the IV antibiotics daily, from her previous surgery, but she can't bring anything there,
Yeah. Well, that's what they said they were doing with Jake's Law, but they got a long way to go.
Yeah, yeah, but even maybe we could talk about Ryan's Law anyway, and just see where how it could fit in here somewhere.
Joanne, do you remember last year, Cannabis Patient Awareness Day? There was a state that called in that they said that their governor is allowing them to go to other states, get cannabis, and bring it back because there's no law in their state. And the governor's letting them do that, but with executive order. Did you hear
Oh
about that?
man, I can't remember, but I remember that happening, but I don't remember what state.
It's probably like Alabama or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You might be right, Alabama.
It might be Alabama. It's the only one I could think of. I got to go back. But we learned a lot from talking to other states. And it's like these
Yeah.
crazy laws and their loopholes and workarounds for patients. Like the 92% tax in Vermont on carts. That's crazy. A cart costs $100 because it's lumped in with the tobacco tax for flavored tobacco carts.
Yeah, that sounds wrong.
It's crazy.
Do you have a card?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in New Jersey anymore. I'm in Virginia, and no, I don't. Well, I never really had a qualifying condition in New Jersey.
I had one in New York, and the only reason why I really bothered with it was when everything first went down. So that was a lot in 2014, I think it was. So I did go to do, to go through the process because people were afraid to do it. Just so I could take, patients through and at least give them they didn't feel like they were going to some backstreet doctor, because that, but I never renewed it. They got enough money off of me. And here I haven't bothered. And I don't even know if I qualify here anyway.
Yeah. Well, my family that's there's a couple patients, and they're just happy to be able to go to Breakwater. So, I mean, I think that's probably why they keep the card. But I mean, they use it, so, and they qualify, so. And I think that's important to still have the medical only,
Medical.
Oh, what was that?
Was that you?
That wasn't a bong, was it?
No, it wasn't a bomb.
Okay.
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Wasn't that sure if that was you or Lefty?
No, it's my husband came in and he opened it. That's all.
Well, thanks, guys, for joining us tonight. And Joanne, please join us anytime. We'd love to have
Thanks,
you.
Lefty.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you guys too. I'd be back there more often, but I got to get a new car, so. And yeah, I mean, I still help because most of my family's there, so. Yeah, it's just less expensive, less stressful here, even though I'm working more. But
So
that's not. Well, I went to high school here, so I have a lot of friends from then here, but that's not like family. And I'm like 5 blocks from the beach, so.
Isn't your daughter in Hackensack? Did you?
Yeah.
Tell her, give her my number anytime she needs anything.
All right, yeah, and I think there's a dispensary there now too. I don't know if they've been, but
Where does she live?
Close to Route 4.
In Hackensack?
Yeah.
There's a lot of dispensaries. There's.
Oh yeah, on Route 4. Yeah, Route 17, Route 4. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot down the side streets. They're all big secrets.
I think the one on Route 4 is medical only
There
still.
is a medical. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
medical before.
Yeah. Because Paramus won't, they only have medical only. So I'm pretty sure I haven't seen anything updated on that, but yeah.
There's a medical one in I think it's the same company. I think it's Ascend. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Ascend, and then there's a medical one in Englewood, right on the highway, right on Route 4.
Yeah.
By the bridge.
Huh. That's convenient.
I know, very convenient.
Although once you're that close to the bridge, don't stop.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd stop, but
yeah, I think we're going to be rethinking that idea, though. Until,
all right.
When's the date? November 5th. Yeah, until November 5th.
Yeah.
Be a rough ride.
Well, thanks, guys. Hashtag Jeff's Law. Hashtag They Shall Grow. And we always end it with this. They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Beautiful.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Lefty.
Good night.
Thank you.